Uh, welcome,
Thank you. It's a
Yali.
pleasure.
Thank you so much for being here.
Of
I'm
course.
Garrett Hoyos, and we actually have been talking for several months now, on and off, about
Yes.
just doing this presentation. So I'm really grateful that you've taken your expertise and been able to take some time out of your day. Our time schedules are off. You're based
No
in Israel,
worries.
and
It's fine.
and I'm based in LA, so it's great to be able to connect with people on the other side of the world like you
Yeah.
who understand what's going on. And it's definitely an interesting time right now, as we were just discussing. And I believe that based on our conversations, you have a ton of knowledge and value just to deliver,
Oh,
especially with
thank
the
you. You're
latest
too kind.
medicine and your education, your background, and just your ability to communicate effectively. And so
Too kind.
you're
Thank
based
you.
in Israel, like I said. Yali's an strategist in innovation and healthcare. You're the head of the Matrix Innovation,
No, no, no.
right?
I left
Oh, you left.
in the first month of the COVID-19. I made
Oh,
the decision
really?
that yeah.
Oh,
Against
okay.
against all, conventional wisdom. Yeah, I did exactly the opposite. It's and
That's
then I
okay.
heard that Warren Buffett once said that when everybody are doing, swimming to the left, you swim to the right. So I don't know whether that's what my intention, but I felt that's the right time. So no, but I was, I had my own company for many years, so it's okay. I feel
Hmm.
very good about it. But they were
Okay.
very kind with me as well. It's fine.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Um, and also based on just your past history, um, based on what you sent me. Um, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry.
Always.
So one of the some of the previous clients that you've had, Pepsi, Heineken, BMW, Motorola, Coca-Cola, Citigroup, Microsoft, and then also the way that we met was Singularity University, or excuse me, you've been through Singularity University, and then we met through A360, Abundance 360, Peter Diamandis' group,
Yes.
which is a terrific community,
Yeah.
and I know that you've added value there. So thank you
Thank you.
for taking this time. And the next 25 minutes, I'd be happy to do some back and forth, or be happy to have you present.
Whatever you feel comfortable with. What do you think is
Well,
better for you?
maybe tell people what's your zone of genius. What's the thing that you get paid to do? What's the thing that you love to do and that you would do for free even if you weren't getting paid?
Well, first of all, I teach all the time for free, so I can tell you that. Yeah, I think you can't create a proper conversation regarding the future unless everybody are speaking the same language. So I think the most important thing, like people like you and me, we should do is teach everybody anything we know. I think the stakes are so high right now, especially right now, with this unusual period. What I think that, the old world is dead. I mean,
Yeah.
we can grieve on it, but that's it. It's finished. We never go back to there, and the new world is not yet been born. So we are right now in the middle.
Mm.
And this is the most crucial time because you can only say your farewell to the old world, but you don't really understand what's coming ahead of you. So this is an extremely vulnerable time. Brené Brown says that we are all doing mutual PhD in vulnerability right now. And for her, I am quoting her words, she says, out of great vulnerability, wonderful, enormous courage is coming, and out of it, only beautiful things can be created. So I think this is the part, but I think we should be all extremely optimistic. We should all adopt the long view, not the short-term view, and try and build a new future, a better world, because I think this is a reboot time. I believe that the similarities are to the world after the Second World War too. I think there are huge similarities in the sense that the old world is not, you can't go back, and we are right now in the middle. And so I think I think there is a lot of suffering right now going on, And I think a lot of misunderstanding and might be even despair. But I think we, the people who have a little bit more understanding, Thich Nhat Hanh has a wonderful expression. He says, we should be the one who knows. And he's telling the story about this guy who is, during the Vietnam War, and there were many refugees, and the farmers, they had to, to flee from their villages. So they run to taking the boats, and they're trying to escape into the sea. And who are coming, on the other side, who is waiting for them? The pirates. And he says that if everybody gets scared and get panicked, no one is going to survive. But there is going to be only one person. It's enough that there will be one person who stay calm and relaxed. There are higher chances, even 100% chance, that everybody are going to go, going to get safe. So I think us, the people who are into technology, into understanding the future, we should be the one who knows. This is our responsibility for us, for our children, for our communities. This is us. So this is the most important thing I have to say ever. So that's it.
Wow, that is taking someone like Thich Nhat Hanh and building a story like that to relate something from the past to how we can apply it to today. I think that's beautiful. That's what makes us human, right? To tell stories and relate that we've been through this before. We haven't alive today, but past generations have, and that's beautiful. What do you feel like how does technology have a role in this?
I think technology is really it's like our children. This is what Kevin Cayley is teaching us, meaning that we can use it. So I think technology, we can use it, and it's everything that was ever created, singing, putting on clothes, writing poetry, whatever. Everything is technology. I mean, defining the narrow definition of technology, that it's only high tech, I think it's simply doing injustice to what technology is. But when we're talking about, high tech, there are wonderful tools that we should use them to create a better world. I mean, I think the role of technology is to make us better human and to create better life for everybody. This is the only aim, and to give us more opportunity as the only thing. I think we should make sure that it won't be weaponized against us. I think this is also, I mean, we should be aware. We shouldn't be, I would say, I wouldn't take, the naive view on technology. I wouldn't adopt it, but I think we can use it for everybody's benefit. This is my belief.
And maybe you can dive a little bit into how technology is being used for good, specifically regarding at least from today. I'd love to hear what you have to say about video games being used for good, because a lot of people do not have that mentality. I've spoken to hundreds of parents who believe that video games are not here for our good, but how could we use that for our good, and what does it mean to have technology, and is it our relationship? Maybe, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I'll forget about the presentation. I'll just explain it, or you prefer that I'll use the presentation? What is better for you?
You know what? Whatever you prefer.
Okay, let's go on like this. I think it's easier, it's much more. Okay. So I'll explain. If you put your hand over here, this is exactly. Just so you will feel it's a large one, right? So this is the part, this is the part in our brain which is in charge of the sight. So it's a large part of the mind, of the brain, sorry. But what is more interesting, that all the neurological pathways are taking to this direction, meaning anything, if you take it into a sensory world, meaning everything you smell, you touch, you hear, is being amplified or changed by the sight neural system. It's unbelievable. It's like about 80%, and even with blind people who lost their sight, it's unbelievable.
So
So
when you say that it's change, you mean that the input changes
yeah,
to how we perceive.
yeah,
We
exactly.
touch something, and then in this part of our brain, 80% of that senses is somehow we perceive it different than it
Yeah,
is, or what do
yeah,
you,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Meaning that if you take it into the therapeutical world, meaning if you're thinking about neuroplasticity, meaning changing our mind, meaning you can use it, you can use the sight to rewire your mind, your brain, and then your mind. This is really the issue. So we've been using. I go. Can I guess? I just want to go just one step back. The way we understand the world and we enjoy the world is through experience. It's been like this since the beginning of time. So we use experience either to enhance, our ability to enjoy life, like dancing, like listening to poetry, viewing, looking at a beautiful view, uh, whatever, any kind of experience. We also use experience in order to rewire our mind. This is a very, very ancient method. When you're talking about meditation or mindfulness, it's the same. It's using experience in order to enhance your thinking or to create a different feeling and so forth. Okay, so this is one point. Now going into technology. First of all, technology assists us these days to understand the brain. We know much better. We understand the brain much better. Not yet. We still, Ray Kurzweil says we still have a long way to go, like about a decade, so, or even more. So I think he's talking about 2040, that we will fully understand the brain, but it might be earlier. But then we have technology. And what technology allows us is to create a closed loop experience using our sight, our vision. So once you have a closed loop experience, you can monitor it, you can reproduce it, and you can use it according to the activity of the user, in this case, a child who suffers from any kind of, deficiency, let's put it this way. So in a sense, right now it's a video game, but it's going to go much further than that. So I'll just explain. I will take you for a second, if it's okay, to 1979, when there was a group of doctors in Washington in a hospital, and they were very concerned with soldiers who came from the army, and they were highly burned, seriously burned, like 80% of the body, And once you give them any kind of medicine, the pain still is very high. It's like, even if you give them whatever you can give them, it's still, it's like it takes down the feeling of pain down by 20%. But then what they did, they put a VR glasses, which were then extremely expensive. It was $75,000 for a pair. It was very heavy. You couldn't really put it for a long time. It was very, it wasn't convenient. It felt very bad. But once you put it on the soldier's eyes, what they saw is they saw someone, they didn't even saw the figure, I think, who is throwing balls of snowballs. It was snowing, and there were penguins, and they were, or I don't know, I think snowmen, and someone was, simply throwing balls. And then something extremely interesting happened. And this is what happened. The body was shouting, "I can't stand it. It's so hot." The brain was shouting, "It's too cold." So there was a decrease in the sense of burning by 60%. 60%, yeah. But they couldn't, it was so heavy and it was uncomfortable, so you couldn't do it like more than 10 or 15 minutes, I think, a day, and that's it. And also it was very expensive, you know, and you have to have the people around and the technician and everything. But what was more interesting is that after 3 months that the soldiers were, you know, were given that specific, let's say, digital medicine, the brain rewired itself. And whenever they felt the burning, they simply invited from their mind, from their brain, the sensation of the winter, of the freezing that they had.
So by picturing cold, they were able to trigger
reduce the
relief
pain by themselves. Yeah.
just by the thought.
Yeah.
And did it require the VR experience?
After 3 months, you didn't have to have the VR anymore.
So it was just gone. So you're saying that there's a long-lasting effect from this sight experience.
Exactly. And because there was, as I recall, it was a digital closed loop experience. So it was monitored. So the doctor could have seen when is it going to happen. So take this principle and take it to what we are talking about children that are suffering for any kind of deficiency. Right now we're talking about ADHD, and you know, and they have to take Ritalin or anything else, and they're suffering, right? And it's not that, you know, what we call pills or any kind of medicine, okay, the old, you know, the old, this is the old method, but it's not that it's definitely not effective. I think there are side effects that not all parents want their children to have. And now I still want to share, because I think he deserved this kind of, I think he deserved this kind of, hold on, I'm trying to share my, hold on, I was lost. Share screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, I want to show you. Okay, do you see the Adam Gazelli? Okay.
Yep. Super clear.
Brilliant. So Adam Gazelli is a very, very interesting person, and he's a neuroscientist. This is how he started his I think his life. And anyway, he believes that these days, going back to technology, we can enhance any kind of ability of the brain by using the right vehicle. So 10 years ago, he created a company. I think now it's called Achilles. And 10 years ago, he started a journey that the aim of it was to create a solution for children that, in a sense, might be a combination with what we call the small molecule or a replacement, meaning it might happen that, and it started, the FDA approved it on June this year. You might go to the doctor with your child, and you're going to, you know, ask, what can I do with my child? You know, we can't sit in one place. The teacher all the time complaining, and he's unhappy. What can we do? And usually, you know, the doctor will say, what can we do? You know, here is a subscription. Go and buy the Ritalin and give it to him. You might be in a situation right now that is going to write for you video game instead of a Ritalin. So it took him 10 years, 30 clinical trials to ensure that it's working, because it's a closed, as we said, it's a closed loop digital experience. So he can watch what's happening, and he can be, with sensors and AI, he can monitor anything that you're doing and what's happening. And then he can, you know, upgrade also the challenges, but also the rewards to enhance your abilities. So this is really the game. It's called Endeavor, as you see. XR is all the time. This is the company Achilles, but you should take into consideration that it changed the name of the company and the game 3 times. But this is it. So you can simply now go to your doctor and say, I want this for my child. I don't want to give him any kind of small molecule. I hate it. He can't sleep. He's not eating all day. He's getting very, he's not, he's very quiet, but he's not very happy. And they're all these different side effects. So I think this is a huge, 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 it's still experimenting in a sense that, it's so new, but it has huge potential. Think about all the children that are suffering, and these days, all the teachers are complaining because we have these big, classes with 40 or 50, I don't know, students, pupil, and no one can get enough attention. And it doesn't matter if you're an upper class or a lower class. If your child has it, so that's it. And also we have adults who has the same problem. So I think also it's a good news for adults. And the fact that it's extremely personalized, meaning it's, with small molecule, that's it, you take it, it's for everybody. It's one size fits all. No, here, first of all, it's totally personalized because we see what's happening in your brain. And so we can adapt it. So this is the second thing, that children don't like to take small molecule. They hate pills. But here, because it's so, it's fun. So it's going to be much easier to encourage them to take it on a regular basis. So they enjoy it. So, and we know that when you enjoy something, you get much more out of it. Doesn't matter what it is. So there won't be all these fights between, the parents and the child. Please take it, you need it, and especially when they're getting youngsters, when they're getting older and they're youngsters, and, they rebel and they don't want to take it and so forth. And they take it, they don't take it, and you never know. Here, they played on it. And also there is a challenge and there is a competition, you can do it with your friends, so, and all the people, so you create you can create now a group. And also, I think in a sense that it's usually when children are different, it's children can be, they don't mean it, of course, but they can be quite mean. So now, instead of me being the child who is taking the pills, I'm the champion of the game. So you totally, you reverse everything, I'm not taking pills, come on. I'm a champion in the game. Do you know what does it mean? Do you want to compete with me? So everything is reversed. So even the social status of the child might be changed because of it. So I think it gives us so many benefits. And another thing, that you can play with your child. So it can be a quality time with your child. And you're not suddenly, the parents who is, nagging him, please take the medicine. You are now participating in his experience. So you also might be learning about your child things that you didn't even know because you're a part of his play. And another thing, we know children don't play enough these days, especially if they are in overachieving environment, either school or a household or whatever. So now the parents can't say anything. They simply, he has to play, that's it. So there you go. So that's it. That's all I wanted to show. And so you see, so this is how it is really working. And also as a parent, you suddenly can be very involved. You can understand why your child is progressing or not on the spot. So you have also a sense of the problem with giving your children small molecule medicine is that you don't really know what's happening. What does it do? So you're concerned. What are the side effects? So you can see on demand during this time what's happening to your child brain. So I think it's so beneficial, and for the doctors, they really understand what's happening with the child as well, and the teachers, they can get involved as well. So it can be a community which is being built around these two. And no cost, it's going to be like, it's going to be very cheap. So that's it. This is what I wanted to say. And I just want to say one last thing. I put it in the beginning. Hold on, it's not working. Okay. I just wanted to say that it's a part of a much, much, much larger new science which is being born right now, which we call either virtual therapeutics or virtual pharma or virtual medicine. It doesn't matter. When we are hopefully going to take in the coming few years any kind of mental disorder or I don't know, situation, and take care of our people in a much more interesting way using a closed look experience, digital experience. That's it.
Wow, this seems like a breakthrough on so many levels.
It is. It is definitely. I'm
The
highly. Yeah. Sorry.
No, please. I virtual pharma. I love that just because there's such a negative correlation
Yeah.
that, or at least connotation that we have that we associate with pharmacology nowadays. And like you said, there's no way to, I mean, when you go to a psychiatrist and they prescribe you something, they're not going to know what the effects are for 6 weeks. But if you
Exactly.
know how to change, how to alter the behavior with AI instantaneously, that's incredible.
Yeah. 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 So it's, I mean, right now, but if you want later, we can have time and I can go with you through all of what's happening over there. It's amazing. And they're wonderful, wonderful people, what I really love about the situation is that the people within the medicine field are the ones that are craving for the change. Usually we keep saying that, it's the outsiders that are, disrupting the field. And I think this is very unique that the disruptors are coming from within the traditional organizations.
That is
They're pushing the
fascinating.
limits. Yeah, they're
So
pushing the
someone
limits.
someone from farm this what was the gentleman's name who started the this Endeavor RX prescription?
Adam Gazelli. Adam
Adam.
Gazelli.
So Adam, he comes from pharma,
He comes from neuroscience.
from
He
neuroscience.
used to be a teacher in the university.
Very
He's a
cool. So he
professor
had,
I think he's a professor in NYU, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think he moved to Silicon Valley, if I'm not mistaken about his. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm keeping track of his work, not as his personal life, but I think
yeah, sure.
this is, yeah. He's,
So
he's, a, he's a very unusual person.
I mean, he took 10 years to get this through the FDA. And
Yeah,
when, I mean, that's a big deal. When something
yeah,
is approved by the FDA, the rigorous testing that they have to go through and
yeah,
the cost is
yeah,
outrageous,
yeah,
just because of that testing.
yeah.
And so this means if a parent doesn't want to give their kid medicine, they could start with this.
Yeah, and also, he's extremely polite, and he says it's not that, that we want to throw, the pills out of the window. He says we should understand that we should look for combinations. He says there is never one silver bullet. So it might be even, something that you do, a combination. You take this few days, or so there are many. The issue is, as we talked about technology, it gives us more opportunities. It open windows of hope, and it gives us much more flexibility. And because it's so personalized, I think I love the fact that it's personalized. It's what your child really needs, and the progression and the challenges and the rewards are built into the system according to your child needs. And I think it's beautiful, because this is what every parent wants, right? We all want the best for our children more than anything else. We are willing to sacrifice our life for that. So there you go. You don't have to sacrifice anything. You just have to be there. You have to be present and understanding, and go with it.
That's wonderful. It's so instead of just giving your kid a pill and saying, "Hey, this is going to fix you," you're saying, "I'm going to be a part of your experience, doing something that you enjoy, and I know that I have the data to back that up, and it's time together as well. It's not an excuse. The pill is no longer an excuse. It can be an addition to this, but
Yeah.
this, I mean, why not start if it's cheap enough, the game." And it's on a, this is a 2D game on a 2D iPad screen, or is this virtual
Yeah, yeah,
reality?
yeah. And you just, but you have to have permission from your doctor. But you know how it's going to be. In the end, it's going to be on the cell phone. We know everything, Peter keeps teaching us, it's always you put it on the digital and it takes time, but in the end it's demonetization and democratization, and that's it. But and then and if there's so many people like 30, 40 years old who are suffering as well, and they probably even can't take anything right now, so they can use it as well. I mean, because it's adaptable. You use it. It's a closed loop system digitally, so you can use it to whatever you want, whatever you desire.
So is the game, do you understand how the game engine is doing it? Like, what are the game mechanics, or are you mostly on talking just on the neurological benefit side of things?
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I'm not good with this, but I think the most important issue is to understand that we are seeking neuroplasticity, and through that we are changing our chemistry, our physiologically, as our physiological structure, and I think this is the essence of it. I think, and the emotional benefit. Think about the child. I'm not sick. Whenever someone takes a pillow, it has, I think, a huge impact on the self-image. I'm taking a pill. I'm a child. I'm sick. I'm not okay. There is might be a sense of shame, of guilt, and also on the parents' side. Our child is not okay. He is in a sense broken. They keep, I'm sure that some of them are asking themselves horrible questions. What did I do wrong? Was it because, I smoked during my pregnancy, or I drank wine, or because, we were in a huge crisis when the first year that, our marriage was, were on the rock that on the rocks that and there is so much guilt and shame involved when your child is different. And it's a taboo, and you don't talk about it. And suddenly you say, yeah, what's the issue? So he has a therapeutical game, and that's it, and finish with it. And he's learning, and he has many challenges, and he's progressing. And I see the progression not only with with the ability to concentrate, but also in learning and ability to cope with any kind of obstacles. And we're talking about grit, so he gets grit on the way, and the collaboration, because he's playing with other children. So these are essential tools, capabilities for the next millennium in any case. So what's the issue? So there's so many opportunities and so many gains. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can even see something like this, a breakthrough medicine not requiring the the need for side effects. I mean, I imagine 20 minutes a day of this, the side effects are rather, I mean, minuscule compared to the side effects of taking a pill. And the second and third effects that happen outside of that first take, just doing this every day, and the kid maybe getting into a flow state and enjoying the process and
Yeah,
connecting with their parent, that
exactly.
the as you go out, the ripple effects caused by that, uh, the progression even into education. Why not? You mentioned earlier these overachieving societies. I lived in China, lived in the United States, and these places are all about achievement, it seems like, especially China. But if you could have a place where education moves into gaming for as therapy as well as connection. I mean, humans. I just finished reading a book about play. How we are all like we are wired for play more than
Yeah, totally
any other
agree. Totally
creature on
agree.
earth.
Yeah.
So why not use the thing that we are wired for to our advantage and play
I
and
think it's beautiful
enjoy.
said. I think it's beautiful. You said it beautifully. So this is what, yeah. So I think we should embrace it. This is what I think we should do. Simply embrace it. Go with it.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of fear about technology taking over and being our downfall, which, maybe it is for some people. What can we do to help people understand what you were talking about earlier with technology being, it's not limited to AI and VR and gaming. It's not limited to cell phones, but technology is this broader term of what, could you explain that again?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think we are very bad when it comes to changes. And we lack imagination when thinking about the future. So what I usually do, first of all, I give, usually when I speak to people, I say, let's go back 100 years ago, like 120, and let's sit with your grandfather in United States. And, you know, at that time, I think 87% of the population in the States were working as farmers. They were part of, you know, agriculture field. That's it. So, and I would say to him, my dearest grandfather, you know, within, 100 years, there are only 2% of the population in the States are going to work on it. And he says, oh, wow. So probably everybody are going to starve. No, I said, no, 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 no. So this is one example. The other one, I'm going to tell him, wow, you could have 40 more healthy years. What do you think about it? And, around, 1880, 100, a century ago, usually the average lifespan was 49 years. So you say, no, 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 you're very kind, my dearest. But, at the age of 50, probably I won't be here. So we should, embrace the time that we have together. Says, no, 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 no. You can see, you can have more 30 or 40 years, and I don't believe you. So I think first of all, take people to, to the history and show them, and remind them. Or let's assume that if you go 200 years ago, Peter likes to say it because he's a doctor, and he's with his father in the field, and his father is sick and he has a problem with his heart, and he says, Daddy, there is this young farmer who is dying right now because the bull got into him or whatever. And I can run over and, I can take his heart and, I can replace it with your heart. I don't like to think what would have happened to him. So I think go back to the history, or think about children. We used to call the, children who were, conceived with the IVF, we used to call them tube babies. We thought it's immoral, it's not natural to have children. Everybody does it. I mean, if you have to, this is the way you're going to have your children, definitely you're going to have it. So I think first of all, go and bring example from the past. And I think there is another one that I think is beautiful, which is when I want to explain to people what does it mean to have a world of abundance. And that we are going into a world of abundance with a scarce mindset. I'm talking about Google. And I'm saying, let's assume everybody on the planet that has a cell phone, smartphone, 4 billion people, whatever, will all, look up at Google, what is abundance? I says, none of us is going to, get the answer. There are too many people looking for this word. Please look for another word, or stand in line, okay? Or it's the system is down. We can't handle it, or we decided to. If this is the word you want, so you will have to pay for that. So nothing is happening. This is abundance. It's not zero-sum game. It's not you have. If you have, I don't. I can't have it.
Right. We both
it's
have.
A win-win. Yeah. So I think speaking in metaphor and in stories. So it's not that fear is going to diminish, but I think, you might melt it with a little bit of optimistic. That's what I'm trying, So you put something in it. You add something.
What is the abundance mentality when it comes to something like medicine and technology as advanced as Google's AI already is? What is the abundance mentality to have there? Like, how does someone become abundant? How do they switch from the scarce to the abundant mentality?
I think like everything else you practice. I'm also a human being. I also have an amygdala. I also get frightened. Of course, I accept the fact that I can be fearful. But what I think is the antidote to fear is passion, love. So passion to what I do, love to my family, my friends, and commitment to all human beings. I think we should all advance together. We should take care of everybody. No one should be left alone behind. I think we have this responsibility, and we should treat it very seriously.
So it really is fear that is driving the scarcity mentality,
Yeah.
that based on our ancestry, based on the people in our past who, I mean, if 80% of our great grandparents were farmers, then it would be hard to have an abundance mentality. Whereas now, 80% of the time you don't have to work. You don't have to put in those hours just to eat. And so now you get to play on your phone. You get to do these social interactions. We're at an interesting paradigm shift in consciousness. That's this awakening that's happening across the world. What do you think the next big breakthrough is? What is the breakthrough that's happening in 2020, and what's going to move us past that to maybe help more people on that path of abundance?
I believe right now we are on the verge of a new culture. I don't think anyone is talking about this, but this is my deepest belief. I think what's happening right now is that a new culture is being born when you have a new, I would say, insights or collective insights. And I think right now there are 10 collective global insights. I mean, like on the civilization level, 10 new insights which are being born. I'll just go, through a few of them. First of all, we are all one. We are all one. Come on, when you're talking about our genetic, 99.9, Tiffany Vera from Singularity is keeping talking about it, So we are all so similar. The people we love, the people we hate, the similarities are much, much larger. What unites us is much larger than what's divide us. So I think this is the first thing. So, I think this is a huge lesson for everybody. That, something happens there in China, in Iran, and, it affects all the world. That's it. So I think that the fact that collaboration and cooperation are essential to our existence. I mean, look what's happening right now. Look what's happening. All the universities, all the big pharma, all the researchers are opening everything. Let's work together. It took us 5 months to sequence the SARS virus. This time it took us 2 days. 2 days, and it's because of a huge collaboration. And then, it was sent all over. So everybody are working on it. I think the last time I checked, it was 157 vaccines, which are on the way right now, different stages. And there are huge collaborations. So you see one company is, creating the vaccine, but their collaboration, they collaborate with another huge pharma in order to produce it. So it was never in the history. Look what Elon Musk is doing, is using Tesla to manufacture, small factories, mini factories that can be sent overseas. So the vaccine can be sent, can be created, manufactured somewhere else. When was it ever in the history? So these rapid changes, people don't understand. So I think this is there is a huge shift in the mindset. There are new collective insights, deep collective insights, which are being born. So I believe within 10 years, we're going to see that a new culture was born right now, right now at this time. So we're going to have different heroes, different values, different lifestyle, different ambitions. Everything is going to be different, and it's being born right now. And we're going to start seeing the changes, the difference between 2-3 years. But when we stand, 10 years from now on the high hill and we look down, we say, oh, this is when it started. It's too big. There is a reboot. And I think we are going to a better one. I think I'm extremely optimistic about it, because we can't do, otherwise, you can't go on the same way. You can't live in a world when there is so much inequality, when the the richest people in the world have more money than half of the population in the world, more than 4.7 billion. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So, and about the climate change and everything. So we have to move forward. So I think yes, we are moving to a new culture. And once you have a paradigm shift, everything changes. And no one is speaking about that.
We certainly are going through a paradigm shift that is, there's no way to say, I know that it's very difficult for people to imagine, especially generation above my generation. So the baby boomers, it's hard for them to imagine unless they're involved in a community like Abundance 360. It's hard for them to imagine that 2030 is going to be much different than 2010. But I think it may be the next generation that's 13-year-olds today can see, of course, it's going to be radically different.
I think also Generation Z,
Mm-hmm.
they also they are an excellent. They are an excellent generation. I don't like generalization, but I think they're already showing signs. They are going to drive this world into different directions. Yeah.
Well, I suppose every generation while they're in their younger years are going to make more of a change and more inspiration, just like the event coming up with, I think it's in a couple days, the UN youth, United Nations youth ambassadors, I think, are coming together and talking about this change, and they're the ones driving the change. And it's beautiful to see that we don't need war, and that, going back to the original subject of, medicine, and how medicine, we've been in the sick care system, it's not sustainable. The top there's 2,000 billionaires on earth, and those people have just so much power. And I see this shift, and Elon Musk giving up his property and just saying, you know what, like, this isn't what makes us human. What makes us human is creation and change and innovation. And the more innovation and change there is, like this Endeavor RX that you spoke about, is this opportunity for the masses to get something that has never been possible before. And I think that's just absolutely beautiful, the trajectory that we're on. And I don't know that we're prepared for it, but we're on for the ride, whether we like it or not.
I totally agree. I think we should all be optimistic. And I heard a beautiful speech saying that the most optimistic thing that you can do is to plant a tree, knowing that you will never, never sit under his shadow. So I think this is what we all, your generation, my generation, I think we should start planting tree physically and metaphorically as well. This is what I think we should do.
Wow, you heard it yourself. The plant a tree without having to sit under, or knowing that you might not ever sit under the shade. I think that's beautiful. That we are what we do today in 2020 and 2021 and beyond is going to affect generations to come.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure.
You are so kind and so giving. I've met very few people on earth who are as kind and just generous and as knowledgeable as you are, and just willing to
You
just
too.
give. And it's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. I can say the same about you. So thank you as well.
Nah. Well, thank you. I have a long ways to go, but I do believe that thoughts do create our reality, and
I
that
totally agree.
we can create beautiful results for humanity
Yeah.
based on changing the thought from
Yeah.
scarcity, from fear to love,
I
which
agree.
is, yeah, that's why we're here, right?
Totally. Yeah. Totally.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's late,
Thank
so
you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Israel and the United States, we can come together and we can create really, beautiful things together, and that's just that we're all one. That's a beautiful
Yeah.
message.
We are all one. We are all one.
Is there any last comments that you have to maybe
Yeah.
well,
I just want to say, I know it's a rough time for everybody, but Noam Chomsky taught that a beautiful thing. He says that being optimistic is a strategy. It's not a fling, and it's not a flame, and it's not, a trait de caractère, meaning character. So it's a strategy, and I think you have to adopt it. It's crucial to adopt it, because if not, he says, you will never get up and do what is needed. So it's an active uh, optimism, meaning it's a kind of a muscle. So I think that's the best thing that all of us should do. It's not going to be easy, but I truly believe there is, as Simon Sinek is saying beautifully, there is always light in the end of the tunnel. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but we should be optimistic and use it as a tool to create a better world.
beautiful. Thank you so much,
It's been a
Yahli.
pleasure.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and end there.